coming to you from the other side.
It's the Hekate Ticker Show.
Music, art, and culture to feed your head.
Challenge your perspective and bend your mind.
All right, man, what an honor and a privilege to be sitting here with the one and only Glenn Cannon.
It's so weird to say that.
What's up, Steph?
The honor is mine. Things have always been that way. So I wrote a book.
Really?
I really did. And
you wrote a book too. That's so cool. What's your book about?
We should trade books.
I'll send you my book. But I think I found a publisher. So if we're talking about exciting news.
Oh, shit. So this is new? This is a new thing.
So when, I put up my goofy Facebook. So if you don't follow me on Facebook, I'll put up these. That's why I don't do Twitter. I talk too much anyway, but I tell these
a paragraph. You need like a paragraph.
Yeah. And a lot of times people be like, oh my God, I needed that today, or dude, that's the funniest thing, or whatever. But there's always been a handful of people who said, you need to write a book. Yeah. So when COVID first hit, before I ended up working my ass off to stay afloat, I was like, well, I got nothing to do, I'll write a book. So I actually started. Now, then I had to get busy, keeping food on the table. I'm helping keep food on the table, Tanya and I fight the same war. And so I promised myself if I got 10 chapters done, that I'd call that my book. And one day I was pecking at it again and realized I had 10 chapters. And so the whole book is nothing but stories of fucked up shit that I've done or have had happen to me throughout my life. Nice. There's one of the chapters is about the time I got food poisoning while I was on Viagra. That actually happened.
Oh my God!
That actually happened.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Dude,
I want to read this book.
Did you enjoy it or
no? It's fucking terrible.
Okay.
Dude, it was
canceled
terrible.
out. Okay.
Is it terrible that I may enjoy reading it? Then?
No, you'll get a kick out of it. No, and just so you know, none of it is so because I want people to be amused by this.
Yeah, what's the theme? So it is.
It's 10 short stories that all happened to me, and my mother could read it and not be offended. So even with that story, I don't get vulgar. I am descriptive, but it's amusing. But sort of anyone could read it. And my hope is just to make people laugh. And
well, that sounds like it's medical. And
you're like a gentleman about it,
as much as possible, man. There's some really epic. There's a story about me being on acid in King's Dominion. There's sort of a motorcycle wreck where I almost ripped my own balls off.
I know a guy who ripped one of their balls off doing that.
Dude, I had a buddy. I'm not going to say
he's
his
now
name.
aerodynamic.
No. That's how I learned what a nudicle was. A nudicle is a stunt ball. That's what I like to call it.
Stunt ball?
Yeah.
A nudicle?
It's a cosmetic testicle. So I will not say his name because he's my bro, but I used to...
So it's like a ping pong ball in his nuts?
No, man, I'm sure it looks and feels completely natural.
But they just put
an implant. It's
an implant. It's called a nudicle.
That's crazy.
Google it.
That is crazy.
When I had a buddy, I called him stunt ball. I called him silicone gun.
Stunt ball.
Because it's silicone gun. And he's a buddy of mine that I used to get... But a terrible story. He was standing on the roof of a tree fort he had made, up in the tree.
Oh,
peeing off of it as much as possible. And
it's okay. What are you doing?
But the roof gave and he went through his tree fort and fell to the ground, and when he landed he was less a ball, which is terrible. I can't imagine. But they got a nudicle and he made the mistake of sharing this with me. And then I called him, he was my buddy, he's my friend, but I'd be like, stunt ball.
Oh yeah.
What's up, dude?
That was a cool name.
I would do the exact same thing.
Stunt ball's cool.
He had a nudicle. Look it up.
And honestly, if you called someone stunt ball, I wouldn't really even think of anything like that.
No, and if it was a scenario where it would truly embarrass, I would never.
Well, and even at that, I would think stunt ball, I'd be like, oh man, that guy's probably really good at beer pong or something like that, I wouldn't even think of that.
We were all in Ocean City, Maryland, and partying a bunch. We were all still in high school. And I remember he came out, we were at these girls' condo, just getting our thing on. And life was good, and he came out, he's like, we have to leave right now. And I was like, what are you telling me? It's so weird how a lot of my stories get into the realm of we have to leave now. There's a lot of us.
That's a good day.
And it's never me. It's always someone coming to me. Why does everyone come to me? We have to leave now. Oh, man.
We have way more common ground than I thought.
So we split. And I was like, dude, what happened? He's like, man, thank you so much for getting me out of there. I'm like, bro, what happened? So we're at these girls' place. They all got 4 or 5 girls' condo. And what do girls do after they're at the beach all day? All their bikinis are laid out in the bathtub and stuff. Well, Mike went in there to puke. And while he was puking, he realized that he was about to have a high velocity bowel release.
Oh.
And he pulled his pants and underwear down and tried to pivot, and he didn't get to the toilet in time. And he essentially sprayed
all the bikinis,
the bathtub, the bikinis.
Oh my!
Yeah. So his next move was to come out and grab me and be like, "Glenn, we gotta go."
Shit's going down.
Yeah, I'm that bro.
The damage is done.
Even though I was like, man, I might be able to. It wasn't one of the, like, immediately my friend came first. And we evacuated.
So cool.
Yeah.
I'm only impressed.
She's in tears. I got Hekate in tears, dude. Isn't that awful?
I think that's the funniest story.
That's the coolest
I
fucking
picked
thing.
The problem is that my mind was too visual with that.
Look, and so I
do a
did.
name for it?
It's called Moments in Time, Stories from a Less Than Ordinary Life.
I love it. Love it.
That was cool.
Amazon is a phenomenal place too. That you get all your royalties. I do it through Amazon. You do it all yourself, and then they just send you a.
If I couldn't find someone that was interested in publishing it, I was going to just self-publish.
Okay.
I mean, because really the goal, other than trying to make people laugh, is a little bit of mailbox money. Like, imagine
Of course, yeah.
if the thing did well enough that I get a check every 2 months for $185, I'd be psyched. So you want to talk about pain in the grass?
Yes.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So what do you want to know about pain in the grass?
Well, how was it, man? You got to fucking play Pain in the Grass with
Pain in
you,
the
right?
Grass was rad.
Dude, fuck yeah.
I'll tell you, so it's cool what they do, but essentially what KSW does is they'll find a couple tours that are already going on, and they essentially say, let us bring your tour to this area, and we'll put our branding all over it, and we're going to turn it into a festival. And what KSW does, and has been doing for years, is they'll find a band and put you on at the very beginning of it. Now, in all honesty, the performance itself, it's rough. They usually, because they have no other choice, they put you on pretty much right at gates. So people are still coming in while you're playing to an amphitheater, which, hey man, but as far as the prestige of it and being able to say that you were, that's amazingly cool.
That's what I'm like.
Yeah, and then for me, man,
Excited
and you're still playing to a couple thousand people. It's
fuck yeah.
It's weird to play an amphitheater where there's 400 people in front of you, there's 1,000 in the seats, there's 2,000 on the grass, so it's like fanaflage. Like there are pockets of humans out there.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool thing to get to be a part of, and my favorite thing was always, they always did a VIP tent. And they would always do acoustic shows in the VIP tent.
Oh, really?
More than playing the main stage of White River, the acoustic shows in the VIP tent were always my favorite part. That was the shit.
I didn't even know about that.
Oh, dude, that was the shit. So this year, we got invited to do Pain in the Grass again, and we're super excited about it. And it got a little. So you want to talk about how it was, or you want to talk about the chaos that went on? Because I don't think a lot of people.
Whatever you would consider the juice.
Yeah.
So the touring industry post-COVID has gotten really wacky. Even the rate for tour buses has gone through the roof because they're not available.
Oh, wow.
And so what happened was KSW was contacted, I believe, by Clear Channel, or is it not Clear Channel? iHeartRadio, maybe? I don't know. I'm messing that up. Maybe it's better than I am. But they essentially said, hey, look, you have to cut all of your local support because the productions haven't been running on time. And Ryan Castle and Tara Daly went, are you high? We've been promoting a 3-day music festival. You can't just have the headliners.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about on my date, Glorious Sons and Queensryche were part of Cut. Like, it's just going to be Sammy Hagar and George Thorogood.
Oh.
So KSW went, you're insane.
Yeah.
There's no way. Like, Ryan and Taryn were like, I will find you, I will kill your children mad. But of course, bless their hearts, they're calling all the artists. Like, Ryan called me and he was like, hey man, he starts trying to fill me in. I'm like, so what? It's all good, dude. But what Ryan essentially did was said, if you want to do that, fine, but you're going to set up a festival stage and you're going to set it up in the back lot. And any artist that, because of your production time or the production running behind, is going to be on that stage and you're paying for it. So when Ryan told me that, he was like, dude, I'm so sorry you're not going to play the main stage, you're going to play a festival stage. I was like, now wait a minute. So you're telling me that the amphitheater is going to be closed? He's like, yeah, no one can even go in. I'm like, so 2,000 or 3,000 people will be trapped where I'm playing. what's the problem, dude? You know? And he's like, oh, thank God, man, because a lot of people were really upset. I'm like, no way, that's a fucking win. I'd rather play to 3,000 there than 3,000 in the amphitheater. That's like, it's really weird. The audience is so spread out, you feel like you're playing to no one. So that's what happened to us this year at Painting the Grass. So us, Spike and the Impalers, and Always Naked. God, if there was another band, I apologize if I'm forgetting, but we got to play that festival stage in front of probably 2,000-3,000 people that were trapped in that area.
That's amazing.
It was sick. It was my favorite Painting in the Grass yet. Always Naked, crushed. Spike and the Palers is always
I've been hearing a lot about them lately.
Dude, they're really good. Glorious Sons pulled off. When that happened, they moved Queensryche to the main stage. So it was a total win. And of all the Pain in the Grass events I've done, which I know that Ryan and Taryn were like, I'm going to hang myself because it was such a chaotic mess. For me, it was the best time I'd ever had at one of those. Because we were on a really nice festival stage with a killer mix. We got to sound check. Normally because all the nationals, and we're talking like 8-9 national acts.
Right.
So if you get to sound check, great. If you get to line check and go, that's just what it is. But you're there, and it's amazing as a local artist. But because of this catastrophe, I'm doing aerial quotes, guys, a catastrophe in aerial quotes, we got to play this really amazing festival stage. We got a full sound check, and it was amazingly cool.
That's awesome.
Met so many you always meet so many nice people afterwards. It was a great time.
Of course,
Pain in the grass, pain in the ass, as you said.
Yeah.
It was rad. It was a really, really good time.
That's awesome, dude. Fuck yeah.
And I've been lucky. I've done it with Window Pane. I've done it with Bruiser Brody. Now I've done it with this band. So like, well, what's going on with your band right now? So at the time, Window Pane had a bunch of stuff going on. At the time, Bruiser Brody had a bunch of stuff going on. And at the time, The Damage Done had a bunch of stuff going on. So it's like if you're talking about either one of your bands, once, it sounds weird, but it's like, dude, we've got this program we launched on Amazon, and we've done this, and we've done that. Basically, as a radio station to connect to their home market, what KSW really wants is to have a finger on the pulse of anything that's kind of happening and cool.
Well, of course, it's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, not only is it a business, but they really do, like a lot of people gripe even about Loud and Local, and they forget how lucky we are to have Loud and Local.
Oh, it's so rad.
The radio industry, especially in the realm of streaming and Spotify and all that, radio is dependent on advertising. So your listening base...
It's like TV commercials.
Dude, it's the same thing. That's what pays for the whole deal. So those DJs want to play all of their friends and all these great local bands, but they're in a position where they have to play AC/DC for the 5,000... If they don't play AC/DC, 5,000 people call them and scream. If they do play AC/DC, 5,000 people call them and scream. But at the end of the day, they've got 200,000 listeners or more, and they sell advertising. That's how the whole thing works.
Makes sense.
So when I say we're lucky to have Loud and Local, there's no advertisers buying advertising on Loud and Local. They're just not. You know, they who's going to do that, right? They want to be on primetime. They want to be on the men's room. They want to be on BJ and Migs. They want to be when the most listeners are. So the fact that we even have Loud and Local, dude, we're so lucky. Because there's a lot of markets in this country, forget it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist.
And you know, that makes a lot of sense now to me in that perspective.
Yeah, dude, like when I see a lot of musicians get very embittered about KSW, and I'm like, dude, you don't know how good we have it. Like Taryn Daly comes out to shows. Steve Miggs comes out to shows. Yeah. Ryan Castle comes out to shows. Like, trust me, I've been all over this damn country. We're really lucky to have what we have here. Kevin Deers will be at your event, man. You know,
Kevin was at our last event.
What an amazingly cool human being. I mean, honestly, everyone at that station, they're fantastic people. They can only do what, it's just like anyone else, they can only do what they can do.
Yeah.
They will help you to the degree that they can, but their hands are tied as much as anyone else.
I think that's good for everyone out there to hear that, because there was a time when I was that bitter guy, but then I got a little more involved and met some people, and I was like, oh, I see,
well,
you know, like...
Nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd, and I mean, I can remember a time when I was Glenn from Guitar Center. This was 1998, 1999, man, and I had my band, and I couldn't get a show anywhere in this town. No one would do shit for me. I was always on the guest list, because I was Glenn from Guitar Center, but I'm like, dude, can I do a show with you? And they couldn't. They couldn't risk me not bringing people.
That's still.
And it was like, and even when Prospect Park, we did that tour with Five Finger Death Punch, well, not tour, but a series of dates. And Prospect Park was really excited about window paint. And so we got talking to him, and it was a big wake-up call, and this is 7-8 years ago, but they said, send us all your numbers. And I went, numbers? Don't you want my EPK? Don't you want my press kit? Don't you want to listen to my music? No. They wanted the numbers.
Yep.
Digital impressions, physical units sold, T-shirts sold, Facebook followers. You know what I mean? They wanted the numbers. They looked at the numbers, and even though literally all that was spawned by, we've seen you win over an arena that's never heard of you. First song, halfway through, you got the whole arena clapping in unison. Obviously, you got something. So let's talk. And they looked at our aerial quotes again, guys, numbers, and said, it's too great of a risk for us to try and, we've seen that it works, but financially it's just too great of a risk.
Right.
So the days of record labels signing a bunch of bands, putting money into them, and then they kind of threw them all against the wall to see who stuck. And some of them took off and some didn't. That is so over. I mean, that ended around 2000, man. You had 3 things happened at the same time. Deregulation. When deregulation happened, Entercom and Clear Channel bought up almost all the radio stations in the United States. So the days of like Pearl Jam getting spun by Kathy Faulkner or Aerosmith getting spun in Boston, that's over because it's now corporate controlled and corporate has say over the playlist. So the DJs no longer have the power to break a new artist. With deregulation also came all the big record labels bought up all the little record labels. And at the very same time, this thing called the internet came along. And the record industry went, well, people have been making cassette tapes for each other forever. How is this different? Whoops. Much different. So
I feel like you're blowing my mind right now.
The American record industry fell in on itself. Right around 2000, 2001, it fell in on itself. So it's it's funny how we went all the way, but I think it makes sense to go all the way to the top because we're talking about where we are, which is a rung of the bottom. So how do you end up on Paint in the Grass? Well, KSW is going to look for a band that's doing something new and unique or has a great story. Like I said, with either of you guys, it's one of those like, man, we got this thing on Amazon, we've done this and we've done that, and they're going to go, man, what a great fit for Paint in the Grass. And that's how you got to have something people want.
Oh, of course.
You know, and it sucks.
To sell a product, you got to have a product.
And that's the other thing that bands get so pissed about, and it hurts because I love doing this. I don't know who I am if I'm not doing this. But on the other end of that, it's a product. It's a fucking product.
It is, of course.
And that sucks. I mean,
It is, but that's the way that it is, unfortunately.
That's the world, man.
It's like money makes the world go round.
If your passion was making bitchin' leather jackets, and then you were like, if you were like, I want to make a living making bitchin' leather jackets. Oops, your passion is now a product. I mean, that's just
how it works.
Yeah.
Well, because it's got to be tangible. You got to make money for it, right? So even if your product is photography, it's still a product. You know?
Yeah.
It's still a product.
Well, Glenn, I am pretty sure we could talk to you all night.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I went on I hope all that makes sense. I hope all that makes sense.
First off, I appreciate you filling that in. I think that's actually, even I've been doing this for almost 20 years, and you even gave me a little piece that now I can go, oh, that makes sense. So thank you for giving that to everybody.
I just want to say for any up-and-coming band, and believe me, this is my job too, your job is to sell alcohol. Right now, that's your job. So when you want to play a show at X bar or X club, really the secret is how many human beings can you put in there?
Exactly.
And bar owners talk just like bands talk.
I always say that.
And if you've got a band that puts 80 people in there and they all run a $100 bar tab, guess what? That club can't wait to have you back.
Exactly.
But the club owners talk and the bands talk. And now it's, hey man, if we do a show with them, and them, 80 plus 8, we'll have 400 people there. And that's how it works. There's nothing slimy about it.
Yeah.
It's slimy.
No, it is what it is.
And that's, so just think of it that way.
They've got to bring bread on their table too. They got to pay their bills, Well, so it makes sense.
Yeah, well, dude, most clubs, people don't think about it. A lot of bands will walk in like, hey, where's my drink tickets? It's like, dude, the reality is the minute they unlock the door, let's just say they've got 2 bartenders and 2 security guys and a sound guy. They're already $500 or $600 in the hole just because they unlocked the door.
That's not even counting lights.
Dude, yeah, you're loading your gear in. They're $600 down as you're rolling your gear in. So if you look at it that way, and then the other thing I would tell bands too is really watch it. Like, if you play a place and there were 200 people there, and bands are so guilty of this. I was guilty of it for a long time. There's 200 people there, and the cover was $10. And bands, especially original artists, are so guilty of. You get that envelope at the end of the night, you're like, man, $185, dude, we did good. But you got to look at it like, now wait a minute. If 200 people paid, or let's just say 100 people paid, and they all paid $10, that's $1,000. And that should be your $1,000.
Yeah.
Because they made $3,700 at the bar. So why are you getting an envelope with $300 in it when 80 people paid $12
I
a
agree
piece?
with that entirely.
So be aware of that.
Yeah.
Even to the point where when I figured that out, I just started renting clubs. How much to rent your club? Huh? I want to rent your club. $400. Cool. Or $800. Dude, I used to be able to get the Crocodile in its old location. I could get that room for $800. $800, right? It's $800. Put together a great package, and you know what? All the bands made money. When we used to do those huge shows at the Showbox, it was rad. I was handing bands like $1,200 for a 30-minute set.
What?
And they'd be like, dude. And I'm like, dude, you sold 208 tickets. I gave you the information. You looked at the breakdown. You knew how you're getting paid.
Yeah.
And they're like, I just made $1,400 for 30 minutes. So
yeah,
all of my brothers and sisters out there playing music, your job is to sell booze, but keep an eye on the ball, man. If there's 80 people there and they all paid $10, where's your $800? I love you all. I'm going to shut the fuck up now.
You're good, Glenn. Wait, real quick. A lot of people know you, but where can they find your music and the new album and the singles coming
So we're releasing singles like mad. We're on Spotify under Glenn Cannon. On the web, you can find us under Glenn Cannon or Glenn Cannon The Damage Done, GlennCannon.net or GlennCannonandTheDamageDone.net. It all goes to the same place. On Facebook, there's Glenn Cannon, there's another Glenn Cannon, and there's Glenn Cannon Damage Done. We're on Instagram. We're everywhere. So check out our music and, send me hate mail. Like, well, fuck you for your advice, man.
Can't wait to check out the book.
Yeah, I will send you guys the book. Dude.
I can't wait, dude. I cannot wait to read that.
Giving us knowledge that I've been looking for almost 20 years in some areas. Thank you, Glenn.
I could go on that rant for, days.
Well, our steak date.
Yeah.
Steak date.
Steak date.
Yeah, Tanya will just sit there and shake her head. Like, oh, God, he's going on about music now.
Oh, we'll love
But
it.
always get what you're worth, man. If there were
Absolutely.
60 people there, or if there were 30 people there, and it was $10 a head, they owe you $300. Get what you're worth.
Yeah.
Don't let them. You see clubs like, oh, here's the breakdown. There's a promoter fee. Well, what did you do to promote it?
Yeah.
Because all I see in here are the posters that I printed, and I didn't see you do anything on social media.
Like 3 venues right away come to mind that I won't say.
Watch out for that, man. You're worth it.
Yeah.
But no one's gonna look after us. No one looks after us
Except us.
You're worth it. Get what you're worth. Yeah, I love you guys.
It's empty, but
Everyone
cheers.
out on the mic.
Gross.
Fine.
Thank you,
Cheers.
Glenn.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for having me, guys. I'm very sorry that we went so long.
Until next time.
And with another great night here on the other side,
We thank you, and we will see you next time.
until then, stay thirsty, my friends.